Today, I will be giving an overview of CME term SOFR reference rates and how they can be accessed and used. Before we look at the licensing and use, let me start with a high-level description. CME term SOFR is a forward-looking estimate of overnight SOFR calculated and published for 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, and 12-month tenors. It is calculated using executed trades and executable bids and offers on CME futures contracts. Average volumes in these exchange-traded derivatives were in excess of 400 billion per day for the month of November, providing a robust and liquid dataset to use as the basis for the calculation. CME term SOFR is endorsed and recommended by the ARC and designed to meet industry best practices and the IOSCO principles for financial benchmarks. In addition, CME term SOFR is regulated and registered under benchmark regulation and is supervised by the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK. As with any regulated benchmark, transparency is key, and details of the calculation methodology, governance, and other relevant documents are made available on CME term SOFR web pages. Use of CME term SOFR will require a commercial agreement with CME. The structure of the agreement is in the form of an information license agreement, an ILA, and any required schedules and appendices. The license is at a group level and based on standard terms and conditions that apply equally to all clients. Whilst independent, CME Group's licensing policies are aligned to the ARC's best practice recommendations for scope of use of term SOFR. We believe the use of term SOFR in derivatives should be limited to avoid the inverted pyramid and ensure its use does not detract from volumes in the SOFR-linked derivatives that are relied upon to construct CME term SOFR rates. Licenses are required for both access to and use of term SOFR. Access licenses include display licenses, which allow for term SOFR to be displayed internally on a terminal or screen. These can be obtained directly with CME Group or through a subscriber agreement from an authorized distributor or vendor, such as Bloomberg or Refinitiv. Non-display licenses allow for use in a system application, algorithm, or software. Non-display use of term SOFR can only be licensed directly with CME Group. Use licenses are required by an institution that use CME term SOFR reference rates as data input or reference in valuation, pricing, transactional, or benchmarking activities. Use licenses can only be obtained directly with CME Group. A license is also required by a service vendor for the use of CME term SOFR reference rates in commercial products or services provided to external clients, such as administration and custody services. It's important to note that an end user does not need a use license for term SOFR simply to enter into a transaction. For example, a corporate borrower does not need a license for term SOFR based on borrowing alone. However, if the end user or borrower wishes to use term SOFR in a system for the purposes of valuation, analysis, risk, collateral management, and such like, a license would be required. There are 3 categories of use licenses which are only available directly from CME. Category 1, using cash market financial products. Term SOFR is available for use as a primary or fallback reference in cash market financial products such as loans, mortgages, bonds, money market instruments, cash securities, preferred stock, floating rate notes, structured notes, bank notes, forward rate agreements, capital or deposit instruments, and any other debt or credit instrument. The use in these instruments includes any calculation of interest amount, default rate or closeout calculations, valuation and pricing activities, collateral calculations, interest rate calculations, the creation of pricing, discount, and forward curves. It also allows for communication and disclosures to end users in connection with the transaction. Please note that when converting a transaction or transitioning a transaction to term SOFR, as soon as the fallback is triggered and term SOFR becomes the primary reference rate, a license will be required. Category 2 is for use in OTC derivative products. As mentioned earlier, CME term SOFR can be used as a reference in OTC derivative products, but is limited to transactions that are tied or linked to hedging end user exposure from one or more cash market financial product. In this regard, OTC derivative products would include structured products, swaps, security-based swaps, forwards, warrants, options, and other similar derivative instruments. Category 3 would include use in things like treasury, risk, and transaction administration services. Using term SOFR as an input to a data or product or service that helps clients manage their treasury and risk management activities. These activities and services are linked to the use of CME term SOFR in either cash market financial products, Category 1 use, or OTC derivative products, Category 2 use, and would include services that provide interest rate and collateral calculations, portfolio valuations, asset performance reports, and forward-looking curves. In summary, CME term SOFR is available directly from CME or via redistribution partners, including Bloomberg and Refinitiv. A Category 1 license is required for use of CME term SOFR as a reference in the creation of a cash market financial product. A Category 2 license is required for use of CME term SOFR as a reference in OTC derivative hedges tied or linked to an end user exposure in such a cash market product. Category 3 license is required by a service provider for use of term SOFR in the provision of a commercial offering that include things like treasury, risk, or transaction admin services. An end user does not require a license merely to be the counterparty in a cash market product or OTC derivative trade. However, where an end user does require CME term SOFR in systems for internal calculation and analysis, a license will be required. Finally, where CME term SOFR is used as a result of a fallback trigger, or where CME term SOFR is used as a reference in a new transaction, a license will be required. Therefore, we encourage users to contact CME and start the licensing process as soon as possible. Thank you.